The morning felt strangely quiet, as if the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for something irreversible to happen. Sunlight slipped gently through the thin curtains of my small apartment, painting the walls in soft gold. But inside me, there was no warmth, only chaos. I stood in front of the mirror, staring at my own reflection, trying to recognize the person looking back. My eyes looked tired, not from lack of sleep, but from years of disappointment. Years of trusting the wrong people. Years of believing in love that never stayed. Maybe love isn't real, I whispered to myself. That sentence had been echoing in my mind for months. Every relationship I had ever been in ended the same way: betrayal, lies, or silence. I was always the one left behind, picking up broken pieces of something I didn't break. But that morning, something inside me snapped. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't anger. It was something far more dangerous: recklessness. "I'm done waiting," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "If love won't come to me the right way, I'll force it." Even as I said it, I knew how insane it sounded. But the idea didn't scare me. In fact, it excited me. For the first time in a long time, I felt in control, even if that control was built on madness. I grabbed my coat and stepped outside. The city was alive, just like any other day. Cars rushed past, strangers walked by without a second glance, and life continued as if my world wasn't about to change forever. I walked aimlessly at first, my heart pounding harder with every step. I didn't have a plan, just a wild, dangerous idea. Then I saw him. He was standing near a coffee stand, casually scrolling through his phone. There was nothing extraordinary about him at first glance. Just a normal man. Calm, unbothered, real. And for some reason, that made him perfect. My steps slowed as I approached him. My mind screamed at me to stop, to turn around, to forget this ridiculous idea. But my feet didn't listen. Before I could overthink it, I spoke. "Will you marry me?" The words left my mouth so suddenly, so confidently, that even I was shocked by them. He looked up. Confusion filled his eyes. Then disbelief. Then something else, curiosity. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. The world around us faded into background noise. "Is this a joke?" he finally asked. I shook my head slowly. "No." My heart was racing now. There was no turning back. "I don't know you," he said carefully. "I know," I replied. "That's the point." A strange silence fell between us again. People passed by, completely unaware that two strangers were standing on the edge of a life-changing decision. He studied my face, as if trying to figure out whether I was crazy or serious. Maybe I was both. And then, to my surprise, he smiled. Not a mocking smile. Not a confused one. A real one. "Okay," he said. Just one word. But it changed everything. Everything happened too fast. Looking back, I still can't believe how easily two strangers turned a moment of madness into a lifelong commitment. Within hours, we were sitting in a small office, signing papers that would legally bind us together. No family, no friends, no celebration, just silence and a decision neither of us fully understood. The man I had just married sat across from me, his expression calm, almost unreadable. His name was Daniel. I had learned that only minutes before becoming his wife. "Do you always make decisions like this?" he asked, breaking the silence. I let out a small, nervous laugh. "No, this is my first time ruining my life this fast." He smirked slightly, but there was something hidden behind his eyes, something I couldn't quite read. "Maybe it won't be ruined," he said. "Or maybe it will," I replied. Neither of us sounded convinced. After signing the final document, the clerk congratulated us with a forced smile, clearly unsure how to react to what she had just witnessed. And just like that, it was done. I was married. To a stranger. As we stepped outside, the reality of what I had done began to settle in. The excitement I had felt earlier slowly faded, replaced by a quiet, creeping doubt. "What now?" I asked. Daniel looked at me for a moment before answering. "Now, we figure out why we did this." It was a simple answer, but it carried weight. We walked side by side, awkwardly, like two people pretending to know each other. There were no stolen glances, no laughter, no connection. Just uncertainty. "Why did you say yes?" I finally asked, unable to hold the question any longer. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he kept walking, his hands in his pockets, his gaze fixed ahead. After a few seconds, he spoke. "Because you looked like someone who had nothing left to lose." His words hit me harder than I expected. And you, he added. Why did you ask me? I hesitated. Because the truth wasn't something I wanted to admit out loud. But I did anyway. Because I didn't believe in love anymore. We both stopped walking. For a brief moment, our eyes met. And in that moment, there was something real. Not love. Not yet. But understanding. Two broken people. Bound by a decision neither of them could take back. But what neither of us realized at that moment was that this wasn't just a reckless mistake. It was the beginning of something far more complicated. Something darker. And something we would both regret, in ways we couldn't yet imagine. The apartment felt unfamiliar, even though I was the one who had unlocked the door. It was strange how quickly everything had changed. Just this morning, I had been alone in this space, surrounded by silence that I understood. But now, there was someone else inside it. Someone who technically belonged here, but felt completely out of place. Daniel stepped in behind me, his presence quiet but heavy. The sound of the door closing echoed through the apartment like a final warning. There was no turning back now. Nice place, he said, looking around casually. His tone was calm, almost too calm, as if this situation wasn't completely insane. As if marrying a stranger was something people did every day. Thanks. I replied softly, placing my keys on the table. An awkward silence followed. I didn't know what to do. Offer him tea? Show him around? Or pretend like this wasn't happening? This is weird, I finally said. He let out a small breath, almost like a quiet laugh. Yeah, he admitted. It is. But even in that moment of honesty, there was distance between us. A gap filled with unanswered questions and unspoken fears. I walked toward the kitchen, needing something to do, anything to distract myself from the reality of the situation. Do you drink coffee? I asked. Sometimes. That was it. One word. No effort to continue the conversation. Something about that bothered me. I turned to look at him. He was standing near the window now, staring outside, his expression unreadable. You're very calm, I said, narrowing my eyes slightly. Too calm. He didn't turn around. Should I be panicking? He asked. Normal people would be. And we're not normal, he replied. That answer sent a slight chill down my spine. For the first time since I met him, I felt something shift. Not curiosity, not excitement, but unease. I walked closer to him, studying his face more carefully now. There was something hidden behind his calmness, something controlled, like he was holding back parts of himself. Who are you, really? I asked quietly. This time, he turned. His eyes met mine, and for a brief second, the calm mask slipped. Just a little. Your husband, he said. The way he said it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like a statement, a claim. And suddenly, the word husband didn't feel comforting. It felt dangerous. That night, we slept in the same apartment, but not together. I lay awake in my bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the faint sounds of him moving in the other room. Every creak of the floor, every shadow on the wall, every passing second made my heart beat faster. What had I done? And more importantly, who had I just married? Morning came, but it didn't bring peace. It brought questions. I woke up to the smell of coffee, strong, bitter, unfamiliar. For a moment, I forgot everything. But then reality hit me all over again. Daniel, my husband, a stranger. I sat up quickly, my heart already racing, and stepped out of my room. He was in the kitchen, standing there like he belonged, like he had always been there. Good morning, he said without looking at me. I frowned slightly. How did you find the coffee? You left it in the second cabinet, he replied casually. I froze. I never showed you that. Now he looked at me. For a second, just a second, there was tension in the air. Then he shrugged. Lucky guess. But it didn't feel like a guess. Not at all. I walked closer, my eyes scanning him carefully. Do you always observe everything like this? I asked. Only when it matters. And does this matter? I pressed. He took a sip of coffee before answering. You married me, he said simply. I'd say it matters. His calmness was starting to feel less comforting and more unsettling. I crossed my arms. Tell me something real about you, I demanded. Something that proves you're not hiding something. He raised an eyebrow slightly. Like what? I don't know your past, your job, your family, anything. There was a pause. A long one. Then he set the cup down. I work in security, he said. Security? I repeated. That's very vague. It's supposed to be. That answer didn't help. If anything, it made things worse. And your family? I asked. They're not around. The way he said it closed the conversation completely. No emotion, No explanation. No detail. Just a wall. I felt frustration building inside me. This is insane, I said, running a hand through my hair. I married someone I know nothing about. You chose that, he reminded me. His words were sharp. Not loud, but sharp. And they hit exactly where it hurt. Yes, I said, my voice rising slightly. But I didn't expect you to be this mysterious. He stepped closer. Not aggressively, but close enough to make my heart skip. And I didn't expect you to be this careless, he replied quietly. The room went silent. The tension between us was no longer subtle. It was real, heavy, unavoidable. For the first time, this didn't feel like a mistake anymore. It felt like a trap. And deep down, a terrifying thought began to form in my mind. What if this wasn't random at all? What if he didn't say yes by chance? That question didn't leave my mind. What if this wasn't random? The thought followed me the entire day like a shadow I couldn't escape. Every move Daniel made, every word he spoke. I started noticing things I had ignored before. The way he observed everything. The way he avoided personal questions. The way he always seemed prepared. It wasn't normal. That evening, he stepped out for a while. Just some work, he said. No details. No explanation. The moment the door closed behind him, I moved. I didn't want to be this person, but I had to know. I started searching. At first, everything looked normal. His jacket, his wallet, a few receipts. Nothing unusual. But then, I found it. A small, black card hidden inside an inner pocket. No name. No company logo. Just a symbol. A symbol I didn't recognize, but somehow, it felt official. Dangerous. My hands started shaking. Who are you? I whispered. Then I heard the door. My heart dropped. I quickly put everything back exactly how I found it, and stepped away just as Daniel walked in. Our eyes met. And in that moment, I knew. He could tell something had changed. You went through my things. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. I froze. I know, I was just. Don't lie, he said calmly. That calm tone again, but this time, it felt cold. Dangerously cold. I took a deep breath, gathering courage. Then stop giving me reasons to. I shot back. Who are you really? Silence. Heavy. Suffocating silence. Then he walked closer. Slowly. Some truths, he said quietly, are safer if you don't know them. That's not your decision to make. I snapped. For the first time, I saw something in his eyes. Not calm. Not control. But conflict. I didn't choose this either, he said. My anger paused. What does that mean? I asked. He looked away. And that's when I realized. There was something much bigger going on. Something I had walked into blindly. The next day, everything changed. I was walking back home when I felt it. That strange feeling. Like I was being watched. I turned around. Nothing. Just people passing by. But then, I saw him. A man standing across the street, staring directly at me. Not casually. Not accidentally. Intentionally. My heart started racing. I quickly looked away and rushed home. When I entered the apartment, Daniel immediately noticed. What happened? He asked. There's someone. I think someone is following me, I said, breathless. His expression changed instantly. That calm mask. Gone. Did you see his face? He asked sharply. Yes. He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. They found you faster than I expected. My stomach dropped. What do you mean they? He looked at me. And this time, he didn't hide the truth. My past isn't just dangerous for me, he said quietly. It's dangerous for you too. I felt like the ground beneath me had disappeared. Start explaining, I demanded. No more secrets. No more silence. He nodded slowly. I used to work for a private security intelligence group, he said. Not legal, not entirely illegal either. My heart pounded. What does that even mean? It means I know things, he replied. Things powerful people don't want exposed. A chill ran through my body. And now, I'm trying to get out. And me? I whispered. Where do I fit into this? He hesitated. And that hesitation said everything. You weren't supposed to, he admitted. But now you're my wife. The word hit differently this time. Not romantic. Not emotional. But heavy. Dangerous. You pulled me into this, I said, my voice shaking. You pulled yourself in, he corrected softly. And I hated that he was right. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of doubt, but because of fear. Real fear. Every sound outside felt like a threat. Every shadow felt like someone watching. This was a mistake, I whispered. Daniel didn't respond immediately. Then he said something I didn't expect. Yes. I looked at him, shocked. You admit it? I do, he said. But not for the reason you think. Then why? He stepped closer. Because now you're a target. My heart stopped. What? They'll use you to get to me. Tears filled my eyes. This wasn't supposed to happen. No, he said quietly. It wasn't. For the first time, we weren't two strangers anymore. We were two people trapped in the same nightmare. Everything came down to one moment. One decision. The same way it started. Leave, Daniel said. What? Leave. Now. Before it gets worse. And you? I asked. I'll handle it. No, I shook my head. I'm not running again. This isn't a choice, he said firmly. It is, I replied. Silence. Deep. Emotional. Final. I made a crazy decision that day, I said softly. Maybe it was madness. I stepped closer. But I'm not a coward. For the first time, his expression changed completely. No walls. No secrets. Just truth. Why are you staying? He asked quietly. I looked straight into his eyes. Because somewhere between madness and fear. I paused. I think I found something real. A long silence followed. Then, faintly, he smiled. Not the controlled smile from before, but something real. Something human. Outside, danger was still waiting. The past wasn't gone. The threat wasn't over. But inside that moment, there was something else. Not regret. Not fear. But something unexpected. Something that might have been love, born from madness.